And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and you know what time it is. It is tier list time. We're in the beginning of May. I do tier lists in the beginning of every single month, basically recapping the last month or so worth of cards. So today we're doing the point guard position. Starting it off right, I do 5 of these. So parameters right off the bat. We're only doing primary position point guard, so even if a card is primary position shooting guard and then plays point guard primarily for the majority of players, they will be covered over on the shooting guard tier list. Now that being said, I do factor stuff in when it comes to cards, whether that be if they're a primary position point guard but they play really well at a different position, I still factor that in to a certain extent through my rankings. Also, I'm trying to split my rankings between next gen and current gen. This year, having 2 different versions of the game is kind of making it hard to do tier lists to a certain extent, especially if a content creator plays more on one certain gen than they do on the other. Like myself, I play majority of my games on current gen. I have played over on next gen, but I'm primary current gen, but I'm still trying to factor in next gen over on my tiers. S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. Now these cards up here will basically, no matter what your team looks like, if you add these guys to your team, it'll get better. Right off the bat, doesn't matter playstyle, doesn't matter personal opinions, doesn't matter gen, they get better regardless. A tier guys. Now, if I'm doing a tier list on probably, on next gen or current gen, that's strictly what I'm rating. Some of these A tier guys will probably be an S tier on those various tier lists. It is how it is. But to a certain extent, I don't think these guys are necessarily quite S tier level. For you personally, you might look at these A tier guys and think they're S tier. You may even look at them and think they're B tier. I don't think there's very many questions about the S tier guys where they belong, but some of the A tier guys, they definitely can be ranked in different places. B tier, very good cards. If you have any of the C tier or below cards, they're definitely going to be an improvement. They're close to 5 tool guys, maybe they're 3 or 4 tool guys, or they're guys who used to be A and S tier, just kind of getting a little bit outdated at this point, but they're still incredibly usable. C tier guys, specialist cards, or cards that they have a purpose. In the right hands, they're incredibly good, but for the most part, they're not as good as the B, A, and S tier guys. D tier guys, very specialist cards. Maybe they're good for a couple game modes. They do a couple things very well, but for the most part, they're just not as good as the C tier guys. A lot of outdated cards are going to end up in C and D tier just based on their badge counts and just how they're trending. F tier guys, so I don't have a worthless tier this time. That's because I actually just took the top 80 cards from each position, or roughly around there if I needed to. So I don't necessarily think any of the cards are quote-unquote worthless. So F tier, in the right hands, they're still usable, they're still solid, but in this tier list, they're probably the worst cards up here. So let's get an easy one out of the way right off the bat. I mean, Ben Simmons is S tier. It's annoying. He's way too expensive. I don't necessarily think he's worth the price, so I don't think you should go pick him up for $600-700K, because I think you can get similar production from other guys that you can get for significantly cheaper, but there's no question that Ben Simmons is the top point guard in the entire game. Yeah, certain people might be like, well, I still prefer Luka, I'm still better with Luka and stuff like that, for sure, but yeah, I mean, he's 6'10", has a lights out 3-pointer, and is pretty much unstoppable on current gen at attacking the rim, and over on next gen, he's damn near unstoppable at attacking the rim as well. He's just, across both gens, he's incredible. Across every single play style, he's going to improve your team. There's just no question about it. And then we got another pretty obvious one, Baron Davis in F tier. This is the most disappointing card we've received, in my opinion. It's not like he's incredibly terrible. I used him for a while. He's not the worst card we've ever seen as a reward card. He's not the most disappointing card ever in 2K, but I love Baron Davis, and I like Baron Davis a lot in-game. I always have. Last year's Baron Davis card was actually really good. It was just very disappointing that this card something was wrong with it, man. It felt sluggish. It just felt like he didn't make jump shots. He didn't dunk as hard as his stats would lead you to believe, but it's not like I didn't use this card. I actually liked it to a certain extent, just because it's Baron Davis and he wore a headband. Anthony Simons. I don't think this card is necessarily incredible or anything, but C tier is about where he belongs. In the right hands, he's still really good. He's got decent player build, his jump shot's okay. He's just about as mid as a card can get. Not in a bad way, just in an okay way. You know I had to put my boy Bob Sura in C tier. Like, Bob Sura is definitely not a card I recommend going out and using at this point, but if you're using Bob Sura, you'll find that he's still very usable. He has a lights out jump shot. Basically every card with this jump shot, which I believe is it 22? I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's 22, but I just want to check just to be sure before I say it. It is, yep, jump shot 22. Jump shot 22 makes the most whites in this entire game. If you don't know which one that is, that's the Chris Mullin has it. Darren Williams, so it's basically Darren Williams base. Kirk Heinrich, Rex Chapman, Bob Sura. That and Ray Allen base, no question, make the most whites in this entire game. It's not even up for debate at this point. Bob Sura is still really usable. He's got a good player build. He dunks really hard. I mean, look, it's Bob Sura, dude. Chris Webber. Chris Webber's B tier, and let me explain. Like, I know there's somebody in the comments that's going to be pissed about Chris Webber being in B tier, but he's among the top cards in B tier. He may even be the best in B tier, but the reason he's not in A or S tier simply comes down to the fact that A, I personally think he plays better at small forward. You could disagree on that one. That one's kind of personal preference, but I just think Chris Webber, although he's incredibly good, he does have some things wrong with him, and I think he's one of those cards that not everyone is going to pick up and be incredibly good with. He's a very specialist card. He kind of deserves to be in B tier. He doesn't have hot zones at the top of the key, which is where I like my point guards to shoot a lot, and I know a lot of people do too. Kemba Walker base is pretty solid. Like, it's not a bad release at all. Like, I like Chris Webber's release. It's on quick. If it was on very quick, I think he'd be a little bit better. I mean, he's upper 90s in pretty much every stat. Like, he's a beast. Do not get me wrong. But I just think the top of B tier where he belongs. He doesn't have Hall of Fame range, which I don't care. He doesn't have Hall of Fame blinders on next gen, which once again I don't care. But also on current gen, that means he has gold steady, which kind of hurts him a little bit. B tier just makes sense for him. Clem Haskins. I actually think Clem Haskins is a beast. Like, he's one of the most slept on cards that we've gotten in Season 6. It's just we got so many good amethysts that Clem Haskins kind of got washed away a little bit, but he's still more than usable. I can't really say for certain if he's better than Anthony Simons or Bob Sura. You might think so, but I think overall there's no way to really say he is or not. That being said, he's still good, though. Colin Sexton's good. I would put him over in D tier. It's nothing against the card. Like, he was solid when he came out, and he's just a little bit small, and I don't think he's really on Clem Haskins' level. Like, Clem Haskins is definitely better. Darius Garland. Garland's actually tough. I would have to put him next to Clem Haskins. I don't think there's really too much of an argument that Darius Garland he's not that much worse than Clem Haskins, if he even is. Like, it might even be personal preference why I prefer Clem Haskins, but I don't know. Schroeder's not bad. So he has Charles Oakley's jump shot, which Oakley's jump shot is really good, but it does look weird coming off of Schroeder, so I'd probably put him over in D tier. Not a bad card at all. He's definitely usable in the right hands, and I can't say for certain for for a lot of people, is Dennis Schroeder really worse than Anthony Simons or Bob Sura or Haskins or Darius Garland? Possibly not. He might even move up to C tier. It just kind of depends. I'll have to let the rest of C tier shake out. This Penny is bad. This Penny is really bad. He might actually be the worst card on this list, and I love Penny Hardaway in game, but not this one. Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, B. I was trolling. I was thinking about putting him in C or D tier just to piss everybody off, but nah, he's good. Like, Tyrese is a monster. Don Ole's B tier as well. Like, if you go into TTO right now, you'll get blasted on by a dude who has Don Ole. I'm still mad I never got this card. I played like 300 games of TT to get this card and never got it. It's really unfortunate. Eric Bledsoe, he's not bad at all. I'd put him in like D tier. I can't say he's worse or better than Schroeder, though. Like, realistically. Fred Brown. Fred Brown's tough. Because Fred Brown is never good in 2K. And I just felt like this year, this Fred Brown card was not as bad as it normally is. Like, it's not. He's basically like a little mini Kyrie clone. He's not very good defensively, though. Yeah, I'd put him like top of D tier. Like, can I say for certain if you were playing a game that Clem Haskins is better than him for... Yeah, actually, I think I can. I think Clem Haskins is better overall. Fred Brown's not terrible, though. He's really not. He's just a little bit small, and he plays like no defense. Fred VanVleet. Van Vliet's solid. I would put him over here in C tier. I can't say he's better. Yeah, I could do that. I could say he's better than a few cards. He's small, but he plays lockdown defense. Like, for whatever reason, Fred VanVleet is always really small in game. It's because he's small in real life, but he just locks people down. And he has the Giannis jumper, which you'd think is going to be like a hindrance, and it's really not that bad. Like, it's actually pretty solid. They did him dirty on the defensive badges, though. I'd still put him in C tier, though. Like, he has, like, Hall of Fame clamps and stuff, but VanVleet's known as a good defender, and they did not give him good defending badges. But he's not good at attacking the rim at all, which I think Anthony Simons is a little better than him. But I can't disrespect Fred VanVleet like that. Gary Payton. Gary Payton's defensive animations still keep him in B tier. He's still an overall really solid card, just definitely outdated. I can't put Magic any lower than A tier. Like, Magic's still used by a lot of people for a reason. Like, he's still an almost unstoppable card at attacking the rim. He's got a big height. His jump shot is actually not as bad as it was last year. I find it much easier to green this year than I did in 2K20, and I think that helps his card's longevity a little bit. I still think he's good. I wish they'd get rid of that little trot animation that he has, and a lot of cards do have it, because if they got rid of that, I think he'd be a significantly better card. But you just have to basically boost out of it with a dribble move, and you're fine. But Magic Johnson in the right hands is still a monster, and I think A tier is where he belongs. Shumpert. I actually think Shumpert is a beast. I would put Shumpert in B tier. Shumpert is excellent defensively. His jump shot is really, really good, actually. Surprisingly. Like, I loved his Ruby card, so I might be a little biased on Shumpert, but I truly do believe that he is this good of a card. Like, he's got a good badge count. He dunks so hard. He does lack some of the shooting badges you'd like him to have. It's not like he lacks them, but they're only on gold. You'd probably like him to be on Hoff. He doesn't have blinders on next gen. He doesn't have Deadeye either, which is kind of a problem, though it can be applied. So he'll probably end up being on the lower end of B tier, but I think he's good. Fat Lever is really good. Like, it's surprising. Fat Lever is never a card that's incredibly great in 2K, but like, he's 6'3", but he has a 6'8" wingspan, which is, like, his arms are big. 36 Hoff badges too. Like, he's got a good jump shot. He's got Exum base on quick, which is same as, I think Jameson has Exum base. He's nice. Rick Barry definitely does. He's a beast. I like him a lot. Bonga. Oh, I'm riling somebody up with this one. But like I said, I try not to rank cards based on if they're badged up, because every card gets better when they're badged up. This is just a stock Bonga, and a stock Bonga is D tier. There's no question about it. Yes, he's big. He's 6'7", but he can't really shoot that well, and his jump shot is really hit or miss for a lot of people. I actually like it a lot, but I know a lot of people struggle with his jump shot. And, like, for good reason. It's not, like, unreasonable to struggle with it. He has bad hot zones, 38 golds, no Hoffs. Like, set shot 14 is Jokic's release. Bob Pettit and Garnett have it, too. And it actually isn't bad on Bonga, but, yeah, he's definitely has some issues, though he is good. I would put him in D tier. He's definitely better than Penny and Baron Davis. And, personally, I'd probably use him over Eric Bledsoe, Schroeder, and Sexton, depending on what the rest of my team looks like. I might use Fred Brown over him. Blasphemy, I know. IT. IT's good. He plays lockdown defense. He's just small. That's it. This Isaiah Thomas, this one actually hurts. I think he's like the best card in F tier, but F tier kind of makes sense for him, I think. Maybe he goes up to D tier, but IT is just not good. He's got bad hot zones. His badge count is good, though, I will say that. And jump shot 14, you know what? He's not that much different than the other Isaiah Thomas. Like, realistically, they're about the same card. Jamal Murray. I put him in C. He's good, but I just think all the guys in B tier are better. Like, Gary Payton's only over him because of his defensive animations, which Jamal Murray doesn't have. And that's the only reason. Other than that, if Gary Payton had normal defensive animations, he'd be down in C, but he has incredible steal and overall defensive animations that keep him up. Jameer Nelson, not his fault, just outdated. Jason Kidd, he's still good enough of a defender. The one problem with this card is his jump shot. But I will say, for certain players, it's actually an advantage because it limits you from taking bad shots. And when I've played with him, he hasn't been terrible. I think he was better. He's better this year than he was in 2K20. That Showtime Jason Kidd was garbage. Jeremy Lin, best card in C tier. I know, slanderous to my man Bob Sura, but Jeremy Lin's the OG card that I overhyped, so C tier. John Stockton's still pretty good. I put him in C tier. It's just a better version of the glitch shot Stockton. This one's not even glitch, they made him dunk hard. John Wall. I think he's still A tier. I do. I think he's still more than usable. Should you go out and try to grind spotlight sims like specifically for this card? No, I don't think so. There's just better point guard options at this point, but I still think he's really good, and I think he is still better than being in B tier, but I'll let the rest of the list kind of play out a little bit. I love this card, so maybe I'm over-ranking it. Let me know down in the comments. You know I couldn't put my man in C tier. Captain Kirk's a beast. He's better Bob Sura. Like, he's better Bob Sura. Also, shout out to my man Tim. I will be playing him on stream next time I stream. And he will be using Bob Sura, and I will be using Kirk Heinrich. And we're going to see once and for all which base 22 white boy god is the top. Now, Kirk Heinrich isn't the best at attacking the rim. Admittedly, he's not the greatest shooter. He does need flexible, but he plays lockdown defense. He doesn't dunk very hard, but he attacks the rim very well. He just needs flexible. That's really the only badge he doesn't have that he needs. And over on next gen, he needs steady or blinders. But he's nice, man. Kirk Heinrich is nice. That base 22 is nice. Is he a top card in B tier? No. He'll be at the very bottom if he even stays in B tier, but it's Captain Kirk, bro. You're watching a Cheap Loot's tier list. You thought I wasn't going to hype up Captain Kirk? You're in the wrong place. Kobe Bryant. Yeah, I don't think he's S tier. I really don't. I mean, it really comes down to the fact that if Kobe Bryant, he's point guard power forward. Now, if Kobe Bryant was a point guard shooting guard or a point guard small forward, I probably would put him in S tier because of that secondary position. Because Kobe Bryant is elite, but not at the point guard position. And definitely not at the power forward position. That's the only issue. He's just not a good point guard. Kobe's still a monster, do not get me wrong. But at the point guard position, he's just not that good. And it sucks, too, because, I packed this card, and I was so excited. And I ended up selling him. And there's a reason for that. He's just, I don't know, man. And I'm not the only person that thinks that. I mean, I've watched a bunch of different content creators who have said basically the same thing about Kobe Bryant. He's just not a good point guard, and the fact that he can't play shooting guard or small forward really hurts the card's value. And I don't think he's on the S tier level, at all. Next up, we got Kyle Lowry, which, he's got jump shot 78, which is actually pretty decent. Said jump shot 78. Decent, 96 three-pointer, he's okay. He does not attack the rim very well. But he's got flexible and range Hall of Fame. The only thing he doesn't have shooting-wise is blinders. And he attacks the rim decently. He's going to shoot layups majority of the time, but, I mean, they're not bad. He plays good defense. I don't really... he's a free card, and he's small. Do not get me wrong. He's very small. But I actually think that this card is not getting enough hype for how good of a free card it really is. This Kyle Lowry card's decent. It's not bad. 78 on Very Quick is pretty good. Now, does he belong in B tier? I can't say he's worse than Kirk Heinrich. I really can't. He's better than Kirk Heinrich. He's probably better than Gary Payton, too. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he'll move down. He's not a great card by any means, but I think he just kind of epitomizes B tier. Maybe I'll move him down to C. He's probably the first card I'll move down. Him and Kirk Heinrich. Possibly Gary Payton. We'll see. Kyrie's the best card in C tier. I don't necessarily think he's B tier anymore. He's good. Kyrie's still fire, but he is outdated at this point. He's missing some badges. I don't know, man. Kyrie's tough because I actually really like this card. And a lot of people have him for free, and he's relatively complete. Is he really that much better than Jeremy Lin, though? A Kyrie release is nice. I'm going to throw Kyrie up here, actually. I like Kyrie a lot. He's getting outdated for sure, and he's towards the bottom of B now, but I think he's better than all the guys in C tier overall. Curry. No, yeah, Curry's B tier. Sorry. He is. He's a little bit small. People who are good with Curry are great with Curry. Yeah, he's got Curry escape. I know. Everyone likes to remind me of that whenever I talk about the Curry cards negatively. But I just don't think he's really good enough defensively. He's got like a tiny little wingspan. Not to say this card's bad, because it's not. It's a really good card, but completely honestly, I don't think he's even better than Galaxy Opal Rondo. I don't. Not saying he's worse than Opal Rondo, but he's not that much better than him. He's got a great badge count. I mean, he's money from outside. Like, Stephen Curry release is nice. Like, 6'3" with a 6'3" wingspan is not terrible. But I don't know, man. I don't think he's an A tier. Like, I honestly think John Wall is a better card. I really do. And I'm sure I'm going to catch flack for this in the comments by putting Curry a little too low. Because if you just look badge and stats-wise, like, John Wall appears to be worse, but I just truly believe that John Wall is still good, and Curry is good, but I don't think he's really A tier. Lonzo Ball is S tier. No question. You can fight me. I don't care. S tier. This one is also not going to go over very well, but I really believe that Luka Doncic is not quite S tier anymore. Look, the reality of the situation is Luka Doncic is becoming a little bit outdated, though he is still incredibly good, and I still use him on my bench. I rotate him and Penny Hardaway out on my bench unit. I use Lonzo starting. And he's still an incredibly good card, but tell me I'm wrong. 2K nerfed him. Like, 2K has nerfed this card. And I'm not the only person that thinks that. I've talked to a few different people who believe that Luka has been nerfed at some point by 2K, because he just doesn't even feel the same. He doesn't have the same explosiveness. It feels like he misses a lot more whites. Not like he's bad by any means, but he was completely overpowered for a while. And now it kind of feels like he doesn't. And even if you go play against the CPU, it almost feels like he's a little bit clunkier than he was before. They also gave him a headband, which is cool. I just don't think he's S tier, but I think he's, in certain ways, he's better than Kobe Bryant at a point guard position. I do believe that. So I'd probably put him around the top of A tier, but I don't think he's quite S tier anymore. This Magic, I would put him at D tier. He's got like similar issues to Bonga, but he's okay. Trae Young. I mean, I can't say for certain he deserves to be in D tier. I think he's better than some of these guys. Better than Stockton. Brogdon's, yeah, he's probably B tier. Where's Shumpert? Yeah, Shumpert and Brogdon should be right next to each other. Yeah, Brogdon's really good. Even on next gen, he's even better. On current gen, he's still really good as well. He has some issues attacking the basket, but other than that, quality card. Darren Collison gets a lot of like flack, but he's actually really good. That's it. He's just super average and super good. Markelle Fultz. Nah, I can't put Markelle in F tier. He's still usable and limited and stuff. He's still good. Put him in D. Moments Dame. Where's Fred VanVleet? He's like over here somewhere. Still solid, but yeah, not good. I thought I took Yuta out of here, but I guess I gotta rank Yuta now. That's unfortunate. People love this card, and I don't understand why. D tier. Like, I mean, you could argue that he's better than Magic, I guess. I'll throw him at the top, but I don't know. Mark Price sucks. I really liked him when he came out, and then I don't know what happened, but he just feels so bad now. No possible way I'm throwing Nasty Nate in F tier. Nasty Nate can still hold it down a little bit. He's so small. No, you know what? No, I refuse. Where's Fred Brown? Yeah, throw him over there. Grant Hill is S tier. Like, Ben Simmons, Grant Hill are the two unquestionable best point guards in this game. Lonzo Ball, I think he's better than these guys in A tier. Maybe you don't. I respect everyone's views on that, and just in general I do. But Grant Hill's better than all four of these guys in A tier. Yeah, you might play better with Luka, but overall Grant Hill is like a card that's going to be good for a long period of time. And Grant Hill is a more natural point guard, at least the way his card is modeled and the way his card plays, than Kobe Bryant does. I really wish he could play small forward, though, because Grant Hill at small forward would be awesome as well. Big O. If he's, like, fully badged up to the max, he's, like, B tier, but regular, he's, like, C tier somewhere. I think he's, like, a little better than Anthony Simons. He's no Bob Sura. But I can't wait till we get another Oscar Robertson card because I loved this card. And I really, really want another Oscar Robertson card. That being said, if you loved Oscar Robertson, like, Penny Hardaway plays pretty similarly to how that card played. His jump shot's different and stuff, obviously, but... Chris Paul, I think he's the best card in C tier. Yeah, he's actually better than Jeremy Lin, I think, anyway. You know what? In certain ways, can I really say for certain that Chris Paul is worse than Kirk Heinrich? I don't think I can. Like, Chris Paul is definitely, like, short and stuff, but I don't really think he's worse than Kirk Heinrich. Like, at the end of the day, he's got 37 Hoff badges. He has a decent three-pointer. Like, Chris Paul's release is not good. It's one of the slower releases in the game, but on very quick, it's very manageable. And he has, like, an 80 driving dunk. On current gen, he has Hall of Fame steady shooter, which is super duper annoying, and he's small at 6 foot. He's got a 6'4" wingspan, which isn't great. He's fast. I can't really say that he's worse than Kyle Lowry, though. Like, if I have Kyle Lowry up in B tier, Chris Paul, I'll drop Gary Payton down, because he's just not good enough to be in B tier, and I'll move Chris Paul up. I think Chris Paul deserves to be here. If Kyle Lowry's here, Chris Paul definitely deserves to be here. Same with Kyrie. Alright, this one's another controversial one, but I honestly believe that Alex Caruso is B tier. Like, he's really that good. I know it's weird, because, like, Alex Caruso shouldn't be up in B tier by any means, but, dude, he's nice. Like, it's actually crazy how good this card is. Like, I'm surprised. Because I saw we were getting an Alex Caruso card, and I really didn't have too many great things to say about that, but he's got a great badge count. He's got jump shot 17, which is Caron Butler's release on very quick, and it's actually pretty good. It's got a lot of arc to it, which I think is kind of annoying, but he dunks super duper hard. Like, no balding white man should be dunking like this, but he does it. Shooting badges wise, a lot of them are gold, but they're still more than usable, and he actually plays like airtight defense. And he's only like 10k, and I think that's one of the best value cards in this game. Like, Caruso is a beast. Killian Hayes, I actually don't mind this card at all. He's pretty good. I don't think he's as good as Darius Garland and Clem Haskins, though. That's the reason he's down to D tier. I don't think he's as good as these guys. Like, you might prefer using him to someone like Oscar Robertson or Bob Sura or even Trae Young, but that doesn't mean that he's better. Lonzo Ball. I might be overstepping here, but I actually think he's still, like, low-end B tier. Like, can I say for certain that this Lonzo Ball is worse than Kyrie? No, they're still both pretty good. I will say they're at the bottom of B tier for sure, with Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul and Kirk, but this Lonzo Ball's still usable. Like, he came out, what, season 4, and he's still good. That's how good that card was, man. That's crazy. Joakim Noah. Joakim, man. This card is so funny. Like, I don't even know. My opinions on this card change by the day, realistically. Like, they do. I will say that he's not incredibly good. Okay? He's not the best shooter. He's got set shot 5, which is Al Horford's release, but it's not very quick, so it's ugly, but it's not terrible. He only has an 85 driving dunk, which I thought was messed up. If they would have given him like a 95, he'd actually be significantly better. He can go hard in the paint, though. Like, his post moves are not great, and once they kind of nerfed post moves, that sucked. He's really good defensively. He rebounds really well. It's tough. He's great defensive card. He has no shooting badges. I'm going to put him at the top of D tier. Like, okay, part of me wants to put him in C tier because he is one of those cards you can have on the last 3 players on your bench, and if you run into a Ben Simmons, you can throw Joakim out there, and he'll actually lock down Ben Simmons. Like, there's no way to actually lock Ben Simmons down, but he'll be one of the better cards for defending Ben Simmons just because of his height and defensive skills. But he's also not incredibly fast, too, so I'll put him down in D. If you want to argue and say that he's in C tier because you use him to lock down Ben Simmons, like, I feel that. And he is a huge mismatch problem for sure, but he definitely has issues. He does have Unpluckable, though, and that's, like, a key, and I was surprised they gave that to him. This Damian Lillard, I would put him down here. He's the best card in D tier, but he's just outdated. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is still good. I'd put him in B. No question. Don Boucher. Throw Don over in C. He needs some badges. If he's fully badged up, maybe he's B tier, but C makes a lot of sense for Don Boucher. He has a Jerry curl, though, and that's pretty cool. So that keeps him alone out of the bottom of C tier. Big Penny. I don't think it's a controversial thing to say that Penny Hardaway is one of the best cards in this game at the point guard position. Though I think he does have enough wrong with him that he deserves A tier instead of S tier. Like, I don't think Penny is necessarily a card that everyone can pick up and instantly be incredible with. He is a little weird. Brandon Ingram's jump shot is very hit or miss as well, so it's kind of tough, but Penny Hardaway is easily my favorite point guard in the game. Like, I like Lonzo Ball a lot, but Penny's just the most rewarding and most fun to use. But I gotta say, these three guys are undoubtedly better than Penny. But I love Penny Hardaway. Oh, my boy Rondo is up here. Rondo is incredible. Like, Rondo is so good. You know, Rondo is better. All right. All right. I'm going to get slandered if I put him over Tyrese Halliburton, but Rondo's, I would say he's the least hyped card in this game. Most underrated, should I say. He's definitely the most underrated card in this game. Rondo is an absolute monster. He's small, but he's got a giant wingspan. He has the same steal animations that Allen Iverson and Michael Jordan have, which are literally fake. He locks down pretty much everybody you put against him. Like, yeah, Simmons will still kill him in the interior, but other than that, like, he's a beast. Rondo gets no love out here. Rondo never gets love in 2K, man. And they actually made an incredibly good Rondo that gets no love. Sexton, yeah, I'd throw him in C tier. He's better. He's around, like, John Stockton area. I think he's better than John Stockton. He's better than Trey Turner. Frank Nicolita. Frank's good, but I think he deserves to be over here in C tier. Put Gary Payton right there. This looks right. Frank's really good. I don't think he's quite up here in B tier level. For certain people, he's probably better than like a Lonzo Ball or Kyrie or even De'Aaron Fox. Kyle Lowry's probably at the bottom here. But I think for the most part, I'm penalizing him right off the bat for being in the glitch market and I can't even get him. I've played around with him on my buddy's account. He seems really good. He's a big point guard. I don't necessarily think he's better than Lonzo Ball, though. I mean, he's similar. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I like Frank, though. It's tough. Frank's one of those cards that I like. Probably more. Like, I like him above how good he actually is. Like, so, the fact that I like him a lot, I'm trying not to overhype him. Bobby Jones and Donovan Mitchell's release is pretty good. He has pretty weak hot zones and not a great amount of shooting badges. But he's still a beast. I can't say he's worse than Kyle Lowry. I put him like over here somewhere. Yeah. Rubio's actually pretty decent. I actually like him a lot. I put him in C tier. RJ Hampton, where is Killian Hayes? RJ Hampton, this is one of my favorite Ruby point guards in the entire game, no question. That being said, he's not up here in the C tier level. I don't have Jarrett Jack on this list, but Jarrett Jack would be like right over here too. Ron Harper. Ron Harper is a monster. I don't care what anyone says. I honestly think Ron Harper might be the best card in B tier. I will put him over here behind like Halliburton and stuff, just because for the entire player base, I don't think he's the best card in B tier. But myself personally, he's probably the best card in B tier. Ron Harper's a beast, but a lot of people are not going to like him. He has kind of a weird jump shot. He's fast though, and he blocks down players. Like, he's one of the only point guards that I would trust guarding Ben Simmons to at least limit him in some capacity. In certain ways, he's better than John Wall, just not overall. Big Russ. Big Russ is probably C tier. I like this Russell Westbrook card a lot more than a lot of people do, but yeah. Honestly, this Russell Westbrook C tier too is very similar to this one. They're basically the same card, just a little bit of a difference, but Russ is really good in game. Oh, Dennis Smith Jr. is a beast. He's so good. He's so good for an Amethyst. If we get an Amethyst only challenge, please 2K let me get a limited that's all Amethyst, because I just want to use this Dennis Smith card. Ooh, Big Russ. Russ is really tough. Honestly, he's really tough. You know what? I'll do this. There. Russell Westbrook, just because of how good he is over on next gen, he's still incredibly good on current gen. He's not worth the price by any means, but he's an absolute elite scorer, and he dunks over everybody, and he plays exceptional defense. He's, for all intents and purposes, a slightly better version of this John Wall. He does have that Hall of Fame steady on current, which really sucks, and he has Hall of Fame blinders on next gen, which is really tight. So, but I'd put him right here. I love John Wall, but I have to admit that this Russ card is just slightly better. Pink Diamond D-Rose, I think he's like towards the bottom of C tier. He's still usable in some fashion, but he's just not good anymore. He's still better than like Lillard and stuff, though. Sam Cassell, I actually think this card gets no love when it should. He's like D tier, though. Andre Miller, I put him in D tier, though. I like this card, but I recognize that, yeah, he's not great. Smush, just with his release, is still really good, especially at Evo. Like, he's probably right around here somewhere. One of the most overhyped cards in 2K, period, but that doesn't mean he's not good. Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie, in all reality, should be up in B tier, but I just think that he's just a little worse than, like, Amon and Malcolm Brogdon. I like this card a lot, and from me personally, he'd be up in B tier, but I think overall he deserves to be over in C tier. Like, towards the top for sure, but yeah. Spud. I mean, dude, it's Spud Webb. Come on. Curry. I would say this Curry is like at the top of C tier. I don't think he's necessarily B tier, though. I don't know. Like I said, Curry stands are going to eat me up in the comments over that, but I think that's where he belongs. I don't know. Like I said, I might drop Captain Kirk because I am overhyping Captain Kirk a little bit, but I don't know, man. Ben Simmons. This card is still so good defensively and so good rim running wise that it's just hard to really drop him. And honestly, like, he's still so usable. Granted, he can't shoot, and that's the only issue with this card. But I still think, like, he has intangibles that just put him like head and shoulders above a lot of these C tier guys. Like, he's still annoying. If you run into Inferno Ben Simmons at this point in the game, like, yeah, he's outdated. No, he's not really that incredibly good. But, like, if you run into one, you're still going to have matchup problems. Like, there's no question about it. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah, he can't shoot threes. Honestly, he can't even really shoot mid-ranges. But, no joke, this card can still throw it down, too. And he's locking down whatever point guard you have. Like, that's still a fact. Like, no question about it. He's still playing lockdown defense, and I don't know. Like, let me know what you guys think about Ben Simmons. Like, I'm kind of torn on where to throw him right now because he does have so many blatant issues and his badge count is very low. He can shoot the midi, though. He's got 84. I forgot how good his mid is. But, like, just overall, he's just a stupid card. He's still fast with 95 speed, too, so I would throw him down in, like, B tier. I don't know. Let me know if you would throw him in C tier or what you guys would do with it. D-Rose, where's Donald? Yeah. Right there. D-Rose is, every year they do this to D-Rose. He comes out with a card before, like, at, like, the new gem tier, before a lot of the other cards come out. He gets used for, like, 2 weeks and then gets very fastly replaced. That's exactly what happened to D-Rose this year, as it does every year. Once again, another controversial one I don't think people are truly going to agree with, but Darren Williams is B tier. Darren Williams is really good. I honestly would wager to say he's up here, like, above Fat Lever and Caruso. Caruso's a beast. Steve Francis, he's just good enough to not be an F tier, but it's my boy Stevie Franchise. Gotta admit, though, he's not great. Steve Nash, I feel like people aren't going to agree with this one either, but I honestly think Steve Nash is, like, C tier still. Like, he's still good. I would throw him, like, over here somewhere. Steve Nash is still a beast. I think he was another card, just like Rondo, that just didn't get the respect he deserved as far as, like, how usable of a card he actually was. Terry Rozier, I mean, I'd throw him over in D. He's good, though. I like him. And then Tony Parker. I think Tony Parker, where's John Stockton? He deserves to go kind of right over here somewhere. I don't think this card is bad at all. And I think people just kind of instantly hated this card because he was small and couldn't dunk, but in the right hands, he's incredibly usable. That's just me. So let me know down in the comments what you think of the tier list. I know that, like, a lot of people get really upset with my tier list and just everyone's tier list in general, but, like, at the end of the day, man, it's just entertainment. Like, it's not that serious. for the most, like, as much as we as content creators try to like make it non-biased as possible, like there is always going to be like some element of personal preference in regards to these cards. Like there is, and it's impossible, as some, you know, people who play this game a lot, it's impossible to not have that happen. But like I try my best not to let that get in the way, but occasionally I'll rank a card too low or too high, and that just happens. But like, don't let it ruin your life, man. Every time you see, for instance, Ty Debo use my account, just because you didn't like my tier list one time, do you really gotta slander me in the comments every time? No, just relax. It's all chill, guys. It's a tier list. I got 4 more of them. It's cool. And if you disagree, always come in the comments and say something, because if you're cool about it, I will always answer back, because I enjoy the discourse. But it has been your boy Cheap Ludes. Check the description for all my stuff. I'm going to be uploading some stuff on the second channel now that the show servers are back up, and I will always be back with NBA 2K content on the main channel. Season 7 is ahead. I'm going to be doing a preview video either tomorrow or Thursday. I'm also going to be finishing out the tier list. Hopefully I can get them finished by Friday, but we'll see. And yeah, be cool to everyone, man. Peace.